you hit the mortgage pre-approval stage.
Yeah, it feels like navigating, well, murky waters sometimes, doesn't it?
Totally. It seems almost designed to be confusing. All this jargon, asking for documents you didn't even know you had.
It's easy to see why people feel overwhelmed. The fun of looking at houses can just get stalled by the money stuff.
Exactly. Which is why we're doing a deep dive today. We're looking at this resource, Lou McGowan's ebook. It's called Mortgage Preapproval Blueprint. Insider tips.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like having an insider guide, someone whispering the secrets to make pre-approval feel less like a hurdle and more like, well, a clear path.
And what's interesting about this ebook, from what I gather, is its structure. It's got two parts.
Yeah. Part one is like the roadmap step by step through the actual process.
All right.
Then part two gets into the real insider stuff, the deep dive on income, credit, assets, employment, all those things lenders really zoom in on.
So it gives you the how-to and the why behind it all.
Precisely. So our mission today isn't just to skim the surface. We want to pull out those key highlights, the actionable advice from the ebook that can genuinely help you tackle pre-approval with more confidence.
And hopefully get you closer to that dream home.
Let's start with the basics, though. Why is getting pre-approved so vital? It's not just checking a box, is it?
No, not at all. The ebook calls it the golden ticket in home buying. And that feels about right.
Yeah.
It's more than just a guess of what you can borrow.
Right.
It gives you a solid, real number, your actual buying power. Without it, you're kind of just window shopping,
Yeah, looking at houses you might not even be able to afford. The ebook lists some big advantages, too, doesn't it? Once you have that letter.
Oh, definitely. Knowing your budget is huge, obviously. But it also gives you serious negotiation power.
How so?
Well, when you make an offer with a pre-approval letter, sellers see you differently. They see you as serious, qualified, ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Less risk for them.
Oh, exactly. And it helps you avoid nasty surprises later. Imagine finding the perfect place, making plans, and then discovering the loan won't come through.
Oh, nightmare scenario.
Right. The ebook stresses how pre-approval helps you sort out potential issues before you get emotionally invested. Saves time, saves heartache.
Makes sense.
Plus, it generally speeds up the whole closing process once your offer is accepted.
The ebook even shares a story, right, about someone named Raquel to sort of illustrate this.
Yeah, and why I wrote this ebook part, it's a really good cautionary tale, actually.
It happened.
Well, Raquel had decent savings, but a lot was in retirement accounts. Not liquid enough for the lender's immediate requirements, you see.
Ah, okay. They couldn't count it the same way.
Exactly. And her debt-to-income ratio was also a bit high. These are precisely the kinds of details the ebook helps you understand and prepare for. It shows why having this kind of insider knowledge beforehand is so valuable.
Okay, message received. Pre-approval is definitely step one. So what does that process actually look like? Part one of the ebook lays it out, you said.
6 steps. Pretty logical, really.
Okay.
First, prepare, just get ready mentally and financially. Then, gather your documents, and we can talk more about that. Calculate your housing obligation, what the total monthly cost will be.
Right, not just the mortgage payment.
No, the whole picture. Then, research loan programs, shop for your lender, and finally, submit the application. The ebook walks you through each one.
Let's pause on step 2. Gathering documents. Sounds simple, but what are we actually talking about here, according to the ebook? What should you start digging out?
Okay, yeah. Being organized here is crucial. The ebook stresses this. Lenders need proof, right? So proof of income is big.
Like pay stubs.
Pay stubs, definitely. Recent ones, W-2s, maybe for the last couple of years. And tax returns, especially if your income isn't just a straight salary, like if you're self-employed or get commissions. The ebook details this.
Okay, income proof. What else?
Asset documents, so bank statements, checking, savings, any investment accounts. They want to see you have funds for the down payment and closing costs, plus maybe some reserve.
Reserves,
Yeah.
like a cushion.
Yeah, a safety net. We'll get to that. Also, basic identity and residency docs, driver's license, that kind of thing. And debt and liability records.
So credit card statements, car loans.
Anything you owe money on. The ebook really pushes getting all this stuff together early. It can make the whole process way faster.
Good tip. You also mentioned calculating your monthly housing obligation. That's step 3. It's more than P&I, right? Principal and interest.
Oh, yeah, much more. Lenders look at PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Homeowner's insurance, that is.
Okay, PITI.
And sometimes there's more. Mortgage insurance, PMI, or MIP, depending on the loan and your down payment. And if the property is in a community with one, HOA fees, homeowners association fees.
Wow, okay. So that total monthly cost is key for affordability.
Absolutely. The ebook explains how understanding this full calculation helps you figure out what you can comfortably afford each month, not just what a lender might technically approve you for.
Right, sustainable homeownership. Okay, so part one is the what. Let's get into part two, those insider tips. This sounds like where the real gold is, starting with income.
Yeah, this is fundamental. Lenders love stability, so a regular W-2 salary is often the simplest case.
But not everyone has that.
Exactly. And that's where the ebook gets really specific. Hourly pay, bonuses, overtime, commissions, tips, self-employment income, rental income. It breaks down how lenders analyze each type.
That sounds incredibly useful.
It is. It explains the kind of documentation you need for each, like profit and loss statements if you're self-employed, and how lenders calculate a reliable income figure from variable sources. There's even a detailed appendix that digs deeper. Super helpful if your situation isn't standard.
Okay, very practical. Now, credit. Everyone knows the score matters, but what else does the ebook say lenders are looking at?
The score is definitely important, yeah. The ebook mentions the typical range, like 300 to 850, and the tiers, excellent, good, fair, poor. A higher score generally means better loan terms, lower interest rates.
But it's not just the score.
No, absolutely not. It's just one piece. Lenders look at your whole credit report, your history. How long have you had credit? How have you managed it over time?
Oh, yeah.
They look at your credit utilization, how much of your available credit you're actually using. Lower is generally better.
Yeah.
Your debt-to-income ratio, which we touched on, your payment history, any late payments or defaults.
Right.
Also things like public records, bankruptcies, liens, the mix of credit you have, like credit cards versus installment loans, and even how many times you've applied for new credit recently. The ebook clarifies how lenders weigh all these factors to assess your overall creditworthiness.
It sounds like they want a pattern of responsible behavior.
That's a good way to put it. And interestingly, the ebook also talks about non-traditional credit.
What's that? For people without much credit history.
Exactly. Maybe you're young or you just haven't used much traditional credit. The ebook explains that lenders can sometimes look at other payment histories like rent payments, utility bills, insurance premiums to gauge your reliability.
Oh, that's good to know. It offers another path.
hmm It outlines what kind of proof you might need for that.
Okay, let's shift to assets. You mentioned it's not just about the down payment. What else are they looking for, according to the ebook?
Right. Assets show financial depth. Yes, you need enough for the down payment and closing costs, but lenders also like to see reserves.
The safety net again. How much?
It varies, but the ebook mentions typically 2 to 6 months worth of PITI payments for conventional loans held in accessible accounts. It shows you can handle unexpected expenses without immediately defaulting on the mortgage.
Makes sense. And does the ebook differentiate types of assets?
Yes, it talks about liquid assets, cash, checking, savings, easily sold stocks versus non-liquid assets like equity in another property or the cash value of life insurance. Lenders focus on how easily you can actually access the money if needed.
And what about getting help with the down payment? Gift funds.
Very common, and the ebook covers this well. It's definitely allowed for many loan types, but the documentation is key.
What kind of documentation?
You need a formal gift letter stating clearly that the money is a gift, with no expectation of repayment. And the donor usually needs to show proof they have the funds to give. The ebook lays out these requirements so you don't stumble here.
Good to know. Okay, next up. Employment. Job stability seems like a big theme in the ebook.
Huge. Lenders want reassurance that your income source is reliable and likely to continue.
How long do they typically look back?
The ebook suggests usually at least 2 years of consistent employment, preferably in the same line of work or field. It shows stability.
And does it address different work situations? Part-time, self-employed?
It goes into how lenders evaluate full-time, part-time, seasonal work, commission-based jobs, and self-employment. Again, it comes down to demonstrating a consistent history and having the right documents to prove it.
What about like gaps in employment or being new in a job?
The ebook touches on that too. Gaps might need explaining. Being on probation at a new job might raise questions. It's about providing context and potentially having other strengths in your application.
Which brings us to something else the ebook mentions. Compensating factors and exceptions. What if you don't perfectly fit the mold?
Yeah, this is really important. The ebook makes it clear that not meeting every single guideline isn't always a deal breaker.
Okay.
There are compensating factors, things that can balance out a perceived weakness. The ebook gives examples like having really strong cash reserves, way more than required.
Hmm.
Or maybe a spotless long-term employment history, even if your credit is just okay. Or making a larger down payment.
So other strengths can help make up for a weaker area.
Exactly. And beyond that, the ebook notes that lenders sometimes make exceptions for unique situations if there's a good reason, and the overall risks seems acceptable. Understanding these possibilities as the ebook details them can be really encouraging if your profile isn't textbook.
It sounds like the ebook offers hope even if things aren't perfect. Now, obviously, buying a home means understanding the mortgage itself. Does the ebook cover loan basics too?
It does, yeah. In Part 2, and especially the appendix and glossary, it explains the difference between conventional loans and conforming loans.
Conforming meaning they meet certain guidelines, right? Like
Uh-oh.
size limits.
Right, and the ebook actually gives the 2025 conforming loan limits as a reference point.
What are those roughly?
For 2025, the baseline limit in most places is $766,550 for a one-unit home. But in designated high-cost areas, it can go up to $1,209,750.
Okay.
And beyond conventional conforming, the ebook introduces other common loan types: FHA loans, VA loans for veterans, USDA loans for rural areas, outlining who they're generally for.
That's helpful for figuring out options. And what about all the acronyms? LTV, DTI, PMI? It's alphabet soup.
Huh, it can feel that way. The ebook has a glossary specifically for that. It defines loan to value, LTV, debt to income, DTI, private mortgage insurance, PMI, mortgage insurance premium, MIP, all those key terms in plain English.
Thank goodness for glossaries.
Definitely. It also touches on interest rate types, fixed versus adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs, and typical down payment needs for different loans. It gives you that foundational understanding.
Okay, so you use the ebook, you get pre-approved, you find the house, now you make an offer. The ebook connects pre-approval to making a stronger offer, right? Especially with contingencies.
Absolutely. Contingencies are conditions in your offer, like it being conditional on getting financing,
Yeah.
or the home inspection results, or the appraisal value.
Right.
In a hot market, sellers prefer offers with fewer contingencies. The ebook explains how having that solid pre-approval gives you the confidence, potentially, to waive the financing contingency.
Because you already know you can get the loan.
Exactly. It makes your offer much more attractive. It also mentions things like appraisal gap guarantees as another strategy the ebook discusses to make your offer stand out.
Good strategic tips. And the ebook doesn't stop there. It goes into closing, too.
It gives you a heads up on the final stages. The pre-closing walkthrough, checking the house one last time, and the closing itself. The paperwork marathon, as the ebook calls it.
Sounds about right.
It mentions the key documents you'll be signing, like the promissory note you promise to pay, and the closing disclosure, which details all the final costs. It aims to demystify that last big step.
And even a little bit about life after closing.
Yeah, there's a nice epilogue with some insider tips for new homeowners. Reminders about ongoing costs, maintenance, repairs, maybe building an emergency fund specifically for the house.
Yes.
And thinking long-term, like maybe paying a bit extra on the mortgage principal.
So it really covers the whole journey from thinking about pre-approval right through to being a homeowner.
It certainly seems like a very comprehensive guide. Lou McGowan's Mortgage Pre-Approval Blueprint, Insider Tips, sounds like a genuinely invaluable resource for anyone trying to navigate this.
Yeah, it feels like it goes beyond just the what and gets into the why and the how, especially with those insider perspectives.
Absolutely. Understanding the process, getting prepared like the ebook advises, and really leveraging those tips on income, credit, assets, employment. That knowledge seems key to improving your chances of not just getting approved, but getting approved on good terms.
It empowers you, really. Takes away some of the mystery and stress.
Helping you unlock that door to your dream home.
Okay. Which leads to the real question, doesn't it? Now that you've gotten this glimpse into the blueprint, what's the first step you'll take towards unlocking the door to your future home? This ebook might just hold the key.